Hello, Ram fans, and welcome to another edition of Meet the Rams Baseball. We've got a lot of exciting news to talk about right now. The Rams just clinched their first conference title since 2023, also setting a program record with 22 wins. Sitting to my right is head coach Bobby Garza. I'm your host, James McBride. How you doing today, Bobby?
We're doing great. Thanks for asking.
Good. Bobby, and I just talked about the accolades you had. Of course, this is your first since 2003 and the 22 wins. What does this actually mean to the team?
Well, it's a great accomplishment. It's a little bit of validity of all the work that we've put in throughout the entire season, even going back into the fall. So this is a little bit of icing on the cake, but as we discussed with the players after this weekend, the job's not done. So we still have more work to do, and we're looking forward to competing this coming up weekend.
Now, Bobby, your team has been one of the most dominant teams in conference play this year. You've swept OPSU, Southwestern Christian, USAO, Nelson, CCCK, and Wayland, losing one game to OCU and the Ozarks, and being swept by MACU. What is the biggest consistency you've seen with this team from February until this mid-April point?
Yeah, we have a common goal. That's been the biggest consistency. The common goal of wanting to compete for a conference championship, to wanting to compete for an opening round championship, and an opportunity to go to Lewiston. So that's been the forefront of our focus for the entire season. So the boys have done a great job of competing every weekend, showing up. Our ability to stay healthy has also been key for our success. So having our pitchers stay healthy, our position players stay healthy throughout a 50-game season has been very, very beneficial for us. So, you know, the health and our consistent understanding of keeping our goal, the main goal.
Now, we cannot talk about this team without talking about your DH, Brendan Vela. I mean, this guy has been a monster this year, hitting .474 with 10 home runs, 51 RBIs, 34 extra base hits. What is it that makes him such a special player, and what is his leadership on this team?
Yeah, he's a pro first and foremost. He's a pro in everything that he does. He shows up early. And when we talk about showing up early, like he legitimately shows up early to get set, to get his body warmed up, to get it loose before he starts his preparation for the day. So he stays early, stays late. He's a professional in what he does. Nearly after every at-bat, he's coming into the dugout talking with me, talking with Coach Moses about what he saw, what he was feeling. But then he takes it to the next level and communicates that to the other players as well. So he's an absolute pro in what he does, and it's no surprise that he's had the success that he's having this year. So we're very thankful to have him here with us and have him on our side.
Now, Bobby, it's not only him at the plate. I mean, you've also had some other big bats there. You got Giuseppe Butacci that's had a big bat. You got Jose Rangel that's had a big bat. You also got Alfonso Garcia. Who are some other players on this team that have really stepped up for you at the plate this year that haven't really been talked about?
Yeah, Jorge Herrera is a big one. He's done a really good job of hitting in the middle of our order. He's very versatile in the way he plays at the plate. So having him, he can hit leadoff, he can hit middle of the order, he can hit down in the order. He has the ability to control the bat very well. He's an RBI machine. So anytime we've got a guy in scoring position, whether it's nobody out or 2 outs, we always feel confident that he's going to drive in a run. So he's a huge one for us. Right, and then also Indy Yaquez has been a phenomenal hitter for us. His ability to lay the bunt down, to manipulate where the ball goes, has been very beneficial for us. So if we get into a situation to where we're bunting with our 3-hole, we can do that and we feel fine because now we've got Jorge and Jonathan Pena and Pepe coming up at right after them. So we have that. He has that ability to drop a bunt down for a sack, but also for a base hit. So those two guys are some of the most versatile bats in our lineup.
Now, we got to talk about the pitching that's on this team here. You're led by Samuel Mendez, who's got a 12-2 record. You have got Michael Pelosi, who has been pitching phenomenally down the stretch with an 8-1 record. What are some of the other arms on this team that are really dominant for you, and how do you see them helping you down the stretch?
Yeah, Ty Sansom has been absolute phenomenal for us coming out of the bullpen. He's kind of like our cleanup guy, right? We'll go down and we'll prep, understanding that when we're ready to go into our bullpen, right, Ty will be the guy that will come in whenever runners are on to clean up the inning, and then we'll move on to the next guy. So Ty's a big one, and he has the ability to come in relief and shut an inning down, but he also has the ability to start an inning and give us length if we need to. So he's huge for us. Noah Huerta is another one that's been really, really good for us. He started at the beginning of the year. He's also coming out of the bullpen. He's closed games, and really fun story. We were talking about the last game of the season against Wayland, yeah, and he talked about, coach, who's got the ball. And I said, well, no, I don't know who's going to start yet, but I know who's going to close it, and I want you on the mound whenever we shut it down at the very end. And so he was very thankful for that. So those have been two really big, important guys. And we've got a young kid, Michael Stewart. He'll be the future of our pitching staff moving forward, and he's done a really good job of logging innings and being able to take pressure off of our bullpen whenever he started. But he's also been able to log innings and take pressure off of our starters when need to, that they don't have to come back in a short amount of time. But also, he's also versatile. That can start, come out of the bullpen, and even close.
Now, Bobby, we've got to talk about the matchup we've got this weekend. Of course, you're the top seed. You're going to be taking on the 8th seed, College of the Ozarks. What do you say to your team about having a target on your back for this series?
Yeah, I think the thought of having a target on your back is a great opportunity to have. It's something that we're very fortunate to have. But the idea and the mindset for us going into this weekend is job's not finished. There's more work to be done. We set out goals for the entire season, and we've only checked one of the boxes, right? There's more boxes that we need to check. So just understanding that everything that we do moving forward is job's not finished, job's not finished. And we've got practice today. I'm looking forward to having a great practice with the players. But the idea is we got this trophy in front of us as regular season champion, but there's another trophy that we want, and it's tournament champion as well.
Now, Bobby, you've already punched your ticket to the NAIA tournament, of course, and you say things aren't finished. But what is your approach? Does it change your approach knowing you're automatically in the tournament going into the conference tournament, or do you just keep everything the same?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's going to change a little bit based off of who we want to push lengthwise from a starting pitcher standpoint. We've got a few guys that have a little bit of ailments, just like everybody else in the country, right? That are struggling with hamstrings or ankles or wrist injury, whatever it may be. So, right, we want to prepare them for the national tournament. However, we want to stay focused on our goal is to win the tournament championship. So, yeah, it changes a little bit of our mindset, but if anything, our boys know that there's still work to be done.
Well, you talk about the work to be done. What are some of the things that you need to work on to make sure that you are tight and ready for this 3-game series?
Yeah, going into the conference tournament and going into the national tournament, right, the really good teams can hit a fastball. So that's why they're there, their ability to be on time and put the ball in the gap. So from a pitching standpoint, we really want to work down in the zone. We want to go back over the scouting report based off of, for Ozarks, we want to go over the scouting report of what their hitters did, whether they swung at first pitch, how we pitched them, and kind of the sequences over their lineup, and just kind of really go through a full scouting report with those guys. So that's something that we're going to work going into this weekend, and also with our offense. We want to check to see through the scouting reports what they did well against us and how we can be more prepared to combat their success that they had whenever they came down and played us. What was that, a few weeks ago?
Right.
Yep.
Bobby, something else I want to talk to you about. I know when y'all were up there at Oklahoma City and you won those first 2 games up there, I put on there Ram Steak continues.
Yeah.
I got kind of lambasted for it on social media because everybody thought I left out an R for it to be streak, but I was actually talking something that made sense. Yeah. Would you mind explaining why steak has been the big deal in everything we've done so far this year?
It's hilarious. It's been really fun. It all started when we went to Panhandle, and of course, if you've been to Panhandle, if you've been to Goodwill, there's nothing out there, right? And you've got to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get something to eat once you leave the town. So the players were, Coach, where are we going? Where are we going? And it's like, well, we're going to try to find something. We're looking for something. And they started yelling out, steak, 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 steak. And it kind of made me think a little bit, made us, Casey and I, think a little bit about, how can we use what they want and try to benefit everybody. So they wanted steak, so I told them, I said, listen, here's the deal. You guys sweep the big dogs in our conference, right? We'll go ahead and we'll buy you steak. And when we look back at the history of the Sooner Athletic Conference, it's really, really hard to go through the gauntlet of our conference and sweep, whether it's at home or on the road. So we felt like that maybe once, maybe twice, it would probably happen with this team. But they wind up doing it a little bit more than that. And our budgets have been, it's been fun, I'll say that. It's been fun. But we're very thankful that Cooper's Barbecue here in Fort Worth, Sean has been great with us of housing us. We've been very thankful that we've had some private donors that come in that put money on the table for us to be able to pay for these steaks. And it's still out there. So it's been a fun deal. The boys have ran with it, and we're very thankful to be able to be in this position to provide steaks for them.
Now, is a steak dinner in line for this weekend?
I don't know. I think what we'll do, off the top of my head, if we win the tournament, let's go do another steak run. So Cooper's Barbecue, we're going to come back to you. Panther City Barbecue, we're coming your way, and hopefully we can have some steak.
And I told you the other day after we had finished this series with Waylon, before you did your post-game interview, that this last few weeks of watching baseball is some of the most enjoyable baseball I've seen here at Texas Wesleyan in my 5 years here. For you this season, Bobby, what is one of your favorite moments? If it was a win, a player moment, something of that nature, what sticks out to you as the biggest defining moment for you this season?
I wouldn't necessarily say that there's one defining moment. There's probably been a handful of moments that have really stood out. Right, going to the ranch was a big one. To really see the team unite was huge for us, for our growth. Hearing the boys talk in the bus whenever we're on our way home, how they chatter and how they sing and they dance and they have a good time in the bus. It's just, it means a lot to see that camaraderie that Texas Wesleyan baseball is able to provide, not only for them, but for our future of our team, the camaraderie. You know, last night I got a text message from some of the boys, and it was about 5 of them, and they just took a picture and they went to the Ranger game. And for that in itself, for them to take the time to send it to me means that we are doing exactly what we're here to do, is really impact lives. And to have that text message sent really just put a chill to my heart, just to know that this team are doing stuff not only baseball related, but they're doing it together. They're doing things with each other. And to have an opportunity here at Texas Wesleyan, to have an opportunity with our baseball program, to be able to see that, just it was extremely special, right? Because these awards are great. They mean a lot to us. But at the end of the day, having lifelong friendships is what's important, and that's our drive here, is to provide an opportunity and an environment where our players can succeed both on the field, in the classroom, and then hopefully later on in life.
We want to make sure everybody gets out to see this series at Sycamore Park. We're going to have a doubleheader on Friday. It's going to be 2 9-inning games, one at 12 and one at 3. And then the third game, if necessary, will be at 1 p.m. on Saturday. However, I've got one more question I've got to ask you before we get out of here, Bobby.
Okay, yeah.
I heard that you had a stellar soccer career in college.
Yes.
Would you mind telling us about that?
Well, it was in high school, as a matter of fact. I was a kid growing up. Soccer was my first sport. It's what I really enjoyed the most, and I had a lot of success with it, being a sweeper and being a kicker, or sweeper and a keeper. And I think this was sophomore year. We had just won state championship in football, and a lot of our football players played soccer. Well, that group were going on to recruiting trips for football, and the soccer team needed some help. And one of the coaches walks in and says to one of my classes and says, "Hey, we need to talk to you, Garza." And I said, "Sure, what's up, coach?" And he says, "You want to play soccer?" I'm like, "No." And he says, "Well, they need you." And I'm like, "Well, if you can run it by Coach Young." Coach Young says, "Okay, I'll go help, no problem." And sure enough, Coach Young said it was okay as long as it didn't interfere with baseball, and went out there and was played 3 games for the varsity soccer team and had fun with it. And but it ended there. That was it. So, and baseball was the rest of the story for me.
And I want to thank you all for tuning in. One more reminder for you: this series will be 2 games on Friday at 12 and 3, and a third game, if necessary, on Saturday at 1 p.m. I also want to remind Rams Nation that if they go to the baseball page on Facebook, they will be able to buy a conference championship shirt if they would like. Also, our next show will probably be the selection show on May 6th. We hope to do something live for that. Until next time, for Coach Garza, this is James McBride. We'll see you next time.